Hello everybody, it's Sunday. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's good. Your weekend went good. Hope's all well with the world, but it's not. Wish I could fix it. I wish I could fix it, but it's not in my wheelhouse. Ones that can fix it have an R beside their name. Just saying. They're the ones that can fix this right now. In Canada, our budget's going up for a vote, I think, tomorrow. We're shy 2 votes. Now you got to think with the other 2 parties between the Bloc and the NDP, because we know the Conservatives aren't going to vote for it, because they're just like your Republicans, your MAGA, because that's what they are now. So they're not going to vote for it, but you know what? I think a couple of those NDP are going to come aside because we went along with them when they proposed the dental care and all the rest of the stuff. So that's what negotiation's all about. So there's been a lot of phone calling, I would imagine, this weekend. So there's that. Looks like we are not going to take any more than I think it's 16 A35s from the United States, because we don't want to be under their thumb. We want to build them here in Canada, where I think we're going to go with the Grippins, because they're willing to build a plant here, so we can build for other countries as well. They're going to train Canadian workers. It's going to be over 10,000 jobs just at one plant. We're going to build the replacement parts and all the rest of the stuff here in Canada. So, because those A35s, we need permission from the United States to fix airplanes that we fucking bought. So we don't like that. So I think we're going to drop the rest. It was an 88 aircraft order. We're taking the 16 that are paid for, because cost overruns have almost doubled the production price. So, as my grandmother would say, you can take a long hard suck of Canada's arse, Donald Trump, because we're not paying for the rest of that. Plus we've got LNG deals going. We've got, we're going to build cheaper, faster, smarter houses. Going to be cheaper to heat, faster to build. They're not going to be any 20-room mansions or anything, but you got to admit that budget's pretty hefty. But we've invested, and that's what was lacking before. Before it was just, oh well, we'll give these guys this if they want it, and we'll give those guys that if they want it. But you know what? We need to build Canada back, because we've been depending too much on the US of A, and we can't have that anymore, because Donald Trump has made sure that they aren't a trusted partner anymore. So there's that. I want to talk a little bit about Carol lying, going on about like Trump's the greatest and everything else. Really? Ask him about the over $30 million over the years that he paid out to families of children that he SA'd. How about you ask him shit about that? There's 10, 11-year-old boys there. There's a couple. Maria, who was 12, he paid her family $16 million. You don't pay out that kind of corn when nothing happened. You just don't, especially with his money. He'd tie that shit up in court forever. No. You pay that when you did the deed. So there's that. And if you don't believe anything I'm saying about him, Donald John Trump, graping 12 and 13-year-olds, you go to the courts online, the Southern District of New York, and they have exactly what Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein tag teamed each other when they were graping and seriously torturing Katie Johnson and Maria Doe. How about they do that? So Caroline, why don't you take that big cross off your neck before it burns a hole in your chest? You'll be branded, darling, because you can't possibly wear a cross like that and lie your ass off as much as you do. You are a disgrace. And this is a Sunday. This is a Sunday. I bet you went to church all smiling and everything else. How's your 60-year-old sugar daddy treating you anyway? You seem to spend a lot of time away from him. Why don't you let Trump babysit your daughter? How about that? or any of the other people on that list that you guys are trying so hard to hide. Why don't you let them look after your baby daughter? How about that? Some of them like them that young, you know. Just saying. And then, my last beef today is with Maggoty Trader. Isn't she just one for the Democrats now? She's talking about all the points we're talking about. She just loves it, and she's not going to vote. She wants that health care rescinded. Well, she voted for it. She couldn't wait, and she just demeaned everybody else around her. Like, that's the big, beautiful bill. Donald Trump's a big businessman. He knows what he's doing. Vote for this bill, blah, blah, blah. She put her little X on the slot there and voted for it. So, Maggoty, where was your sympathy now that you're getting unaliving threats? And you said you have different security companies calling you saying that you're getting threats. Guess what? Guess who else got threats? How about Shay Moss and her mother, Lady Ruby? How about the threats they got when you were going around saying that Trump Trump won the 2020 election? And you were on the bandwagon with those women were doing drugs on the floor and everything else. Where was your sympathy for them when they were getting the death threats? Where was your sympathy for them? You even had a fucking minister come to their house on a Sunday, actually, and have them come. They wanted, this minister wanted Ruby and Shay to get in the friggin' car and go with him, and they're like, no. They wouldn't even open the door to him. They had the police come and take this guy away. These women were frightened for their lives. You weren't putting up a big fuss about their lives. They stole the election, right? Why would you care about them? And then, remember when you just got elected or you were just running? You went right after the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas massacre at that high school, and David Hogg was going to talk on Capitol Hill. You stalked his sister and him down the street, screeching and hollering at him, and you threatened the kid, in my personal opinion. And it's not for entertainment purposes only, because it came out of your mouth. When you said, I own guns, and I have a permit to carry. I'm carrying right now. This kid survived a goddamn shooting. 17 kids were killed there. But no, here's you threatening this kid as he's going up the street. And you would not shut up. You just kept on him and kept on him and made sure that your face was front and center as your little camera person went there. You're a piece of shit, Marjorie. That's what you are. Not to mention the fact that you had a bunch of affairs on your husband. And you got your daughters saying, please pray for my mother. For what? For being a horrible person? For wishing all this shit on everybody else? Talking about the Rothschilds and everything and their Jewish space lasers? Don't say you didn't say that shit, because you did. You lied about the election. You're an election denier. You even had a mask on after you got sworn in on the floor saying Trump won. When you know he fucking didn't. You know he didn't. You went along with the stop the steal bullshit. You were there planning January 6th, coming out, well, we just had our meeting about the big rally. Yeah. You and Enrique Terrio were at that meeting at the White House. Stop the steal, indeed. Yeah, you did all that, Marjorie. Where was your sympathy for anybody then? And then you had the balls to put your painted on jeans on and go into that jail in Washington? In the brand new part of the jail where they were getting so treated so hard done by for gouging out people's eyes, almost tore a guy's finger off. Dragged a police officer down the stairs, Mike Fanone, cracked his head, tased him about 10 times in his spine. He ended up having a heart attack. He had a couple strokes. So you fucking tell me where you deserve any sympathy, any at all of a sudden, because your family is being touched by these cuts and everything else. Your family isn't going to get health care you can afford. Your family can't afford a house. Well, that's too goddamn bad, Mrs. Millionaire. That's too goddamn bad. You take what you get. You got more money enough. Look after your own kids. Why should the government do it, right? You make me sick running around talking about other people having sex with What the shit did you do with that tantric sex guru? I read what that stuff's all about. And you're there laying in his lap with a bottle of beer all sprawled out. That's classy, Marge. Classy. And because you pissed off Trump now, guess what? Your boyfriend Brian there, he'll never get another fucking interview with Trump because of you. You wrecked his career too. Way to go, Margie. Way to go. You're standing up for the good guys. You're trying to get reelected. I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw your fat arse, honest to God. I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw you. You have been lying out of both sides of your face since before you were elected, and talking about your Jewish space lasers and Pizzagate and the cabal that the Democrats all had together going there, and Hillary Clinton's eating babies' faces and all the rest of the shit you were talking about on there, and Q's a real person, and Q knows what he's talking. Yeah, you didn't give a shit about the victims in there that came from all that bullshit that you and these Q fuckers were doing. You didn't give a shit about that. So you getting a little nice there saying, I'm going to stand with the women in the Epstein, yeah? They ain't a rat's ass about anybody else's kids. It was all my Second Amendment rights when Uvalde came up. Yeah, all about your Second Amendment, not about the families and those babies. You didn't give a shit. 400 officers stood outside that school and did nothing for, 78 minutes. They did nothing. You had a little girl in there saying, the man is in my room. I am laying on my friend. My friend is dead. And what did you do? Well, Second Amendment rights. Yeah? Well, why don't you take your AR-47 or wherever the fuck you're blowing shit up with on your property and shove that sideways right up your arse? Because you know what? If those guns didn't exist, and that's the weapon of choice for these assholes that are going out and massacring school kids and stuff, that's their weapon of choice. And you're okay keeping those on the streets? You're a bigger piece of shit because of that. So don't come here with your nice. Because up here in Canada, I can smell your bullshit all the way up here. You are despicable. CNN's taking you on and The View's taking you on. You know why? Because they're owned by MAGA Republicans. That's why you're on there. Because they wouldn't go out of their way to have you. They were told to put you on. So don't think you're being invited to the big people's table, because you're fucking not. You're not. Anyway, Naughty Nana loves you. Be good, be safe, and please take care of you first. I'm having a cup of tea and probably, a gummy or two. I'm screaming. Ah! Okay, I'll be good after this because I got all that off my chest. My blood pressure's already coming down because I got it off my chest and I said something. Scream at a wall, scream into a pillow, but scream it somewhere. You got to get it off your chest. You can't sit there stewing. You just can't. So take care of you first so you can take care of somebody else. Give somebody a smile if they haven't got one, because they could probably use one. I'm just saying. So anyway, you take care of you. Hangers on, thanks for hanging on. Did you see the totals today? Sweet suffering Jesus. Nana's flying. I am flying. And it's all thanks to you guys for liking, loving, and sharing. And subscribing. I love you so much. Mwah. Here's your little picture of the day. There she is. Little Miss V. Sorry for the ranting, but all that stuff just kind of came to me, you know what I mean? Just kind of came and I spewed it out. Anyway, I love you. Mwah.